everybody should be seeing my screen. I hope you guys are doing well, and we're starting. If you guys have any questions, please don't forget to ask them, and we'll try to answer them while I'm going. At the same time, we will answer them at the end. So to get started with Microsoft Teams, this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover what the new normal of working remote means. We're going to talk about social distancing versus workplace collaborating. At the end of the day, we are working separately, and we want to get closer together. There's other applications with that besides Teams, like Zoom or what have you, but why Teams? Why are we saying that Microsoft Teams should be what you should focus on? And then we're going to show you best practices. We're going to tell you that Teams can be so powerful, it could actually eliminate your email or at least reduce it quite a bit. We're going to then go into a very big demo. The whole idea of today is to show you how to use the application, to make sure you know how to use it with the best practices that we found. We've been using it for 2 years, but really heavily using it since we've been social distanced. And now we're more workplace collaborating. So how to get started using Teams and options available. And then we're going to talk about backup and disaster recovery of the Microsoft 365 platform altogether. To get started, I'll introduce myself since we have close to 121 people attending right now. Some are clients, some are not. For the clients, hello everybody. For the non-clients, welcome to MVP. My name is Ikram Masabini. I am the CEO of MVP Network Consulting. I have a degree in electrical engineering, but I've been in IT for 20-ish some years. I'm a HIPAA consultant, HIPAA auditor. We are an IT company that focuses on making sure that computers just work. I'm an IT security consultant. I have multiple technical certifications. The list is long, but here's my email address. If you ever want to talk to me directly, if you have any questions, I'm always open. Feel free to email me or call me directly. I've written a book, and this is the book here, so a little shameless plug, but computers should just work. So let's get started. We want to talk about how we work has changed. Back then, not too long ago, people were more in cubes, working one-on-one with their machine and specific tasks that they're working on. Nowadays, people are more collaborating. Employees work in 2 or more times teams that they're in, whether they're part of the sales team or a specific team that got created for a specific project or whatever it may be. Employees are working in more teams, and they want to work more collaboratively, and they want to work together, and they want to make their life a little easier by being able to be involved in everything that's happening that they are responsible for. So instead of social distancing, I would like you to think about workplace collaborating. I'd like you to think about being able to work. Now, this is because you're home. Even when you come back to the office, I'm saying you're going to continue to use these applications. Even if you're no longer sequestered, after quarantine is done, I think you'll find a lot of benefits in using Microsoft Teams and using it across the board for calendaring and meetings and chats and even project management and what have you. And I'm going to show you quite a bit of all that within the demo itself. But there's also Zoom. Zoom is another application that does very similar things to Teams. But one thing Zoom does not have is that Zoom is not part of Office 365. The Microsoft 365 complete group of collaboration solutions are all intertwined together. Microsoft has something called OLE, Object Linking and Embedding. This allows objects from different applications to be embedded within other applications. So, for instance, once we're in Teams, we'll be able to see PowerPoint and Word and Excel all within the same application. And vice versa, we can embed an Excel spreadsheet within a Word document. The idea is to get all these applications to work together, to make our job easier, and to make us collaborate and produce better results. So from email and scheduling to create and share content, to call and meetings, to chat, to other applications that can be logged in, all happens through Microsoft Teams. That's why we like it better than Zoom or other applications. Not only its capabilities, let's face it, Teams actually works with the Zoom if you want to use Zoom, because Zoom has some capabilities that Teams does not have yet when it comes to video conferencing. But Teams has a lot more capabilities when it comes to collaborating than Zoom does. So when we get into Teams now, I'd like you to think about a Teams within Team. So when we log in, we'll see a screen where we'll have to create our own team. A team are an overall group of people working together. It could be a department, like a sales team, a sales department, or it could be a project, a specific project, and members of your organization that are going to do this project will be part of that project team. And underneath teams, we'll have channels within teams. So teams are made up of channels, each covering a different topic. So if you see the pick here, there's AdventureWorks, and I'm assuming that could be like a project. And underneath here is a team event, a presentation, marketing, a design. Every aspect that has to do with anything to do with AdventureWorks will have its own channel, and each channel will have its own area where you could chat about, conversation, collaborate, share information and thoughts, and we'll go into that and I'll show you how all that works. Besides teams and channels, chat, it's not your average AOL chat, if you will. Chat is more than just that. It's capability to share information, to have video. Chat is calling. Chat is video conferencing. Chat is any chat. It doesn't have to be a text chat, a type chat. It could be a voice chat, it could be a video chat, it could be a chat where we're all sharing information and working on the same document at the same time, seeing where everybody's at, and I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to do all of that. So it's kind of chat on steroids. And then, but forget about sharing, let's talk about collaborating. So I'm going to show you about sharing files and how that happens, and everything to do with that. And then we're going to have a couple of a new level of meetings. So video conferencing is huge, and this is a Teams video conferencing happening, and we'll go through all that. Teams has so many capabilities. We believe that you will be able to reduce your email work. Email may be only for external. You'll start to notice that everything internal will be all done through Teams. Little by little, your email use will be reduced quite a bit for internal communications, at least. So we said Teams will replace emails. Here's 5 reasons why. All your conversations are going to be in one area. Discussion is pervasive, focused and efficient. We're going to keep you in the loop, and files make sense. And I'll show you what I mean by all that. So quite a bit to do with Teams, but enough is enough. Let's jump into it, if you will. Let's get into Teams and let's get started. So I'm going to stop the demo. I'm going to open up my Teams here, bear with me. Okay, let's make sure you guys can see the right screen. Okay. Okay, so I'm in Microsoft Teams. Like I said, teams within team. So these are the teams that I'm part of. I am part of the Microsoft Teams demo, which we're doing right now, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'm part of the MVP Network Consulting overall team. That's everybody in the company is part of that team. I am part of the sales engineering team and the leadership committee team and our outside tech stuffs team and our partner support team. I'm part of all these teams, different departments that we have. I'm also a part of some hidden teams that I want to be part of, but I'm no longer really involved in it as much. These are projects that got completed as well. So having said that, let's dive in and create our own team. So I'm going to create a fresh team. So let's say we have a need for a team. We're going to call it a demo team, whatever it may be. It could be sales. It could be a project. It could be, think of a function that needs to happen and everybody associated with it. So I'm going to jump in and create a new team. I can create a team from an existing team, so I can duplicate a team and all the members of that team will be part of it. But because we're doing a demo, we're going to start one from scratch. I can make a public team where a team can be viewed by anybody, but because of the demo, I'm also going to make it as a private team. I'm going to give the team a name, so I'm going to call it MVP Demo Teams. This is a team done during the webinar. And I'm going to create. That's how easy it is to create a team. Think of a team as a folder, a container on the top. And now I'm going to give rights to the people that will be able to have control over that container. So it's going to ask me, do you want to add members to the team? I can skip that, or I'm going to add a couple of members right now. I'll start with Ben. Here he is, and I'll add Jamie after that. And you see, as soon as I start putting in a letter or two, other people that their names start with JAM will show up. And this is anybody within the organization internally. I can share a team with somebody on the outside by putting their full email address right there. I'm going to click add. Now, once I click add, they automatically become members. I can switch them to owners if I'd like. So be aware that if an owner, you can have up to 10 owners per team. Owners can add new members and other owners. They can manage team settings. They can enable or disable mentions, and I'll show you what mentioning means. They can allow GIF or stickers, or they can be a moderator. They can rename the team or delete the team. Members, on the other hand, can be up to 600 members in a team. Members can add additional channels, and I'll explain channels in a second, but they cannot do much more than that. They can chat and add files and content. They can't delete or change things. So for now, I'm going to make Benny into an owner, and I'm going to make Jamie into a member so I can show you the differences, and I'm going to click close. All of a sudden, on the bottom, here's the team that we've created. I'm going to move the team up. You see how I'm able to move it up so that I can have my teams organized. And every team gets a general channel. So Benny already came in and said, thanks for inviting me here. I'm going to give him a thumbs up, so he should see that. Me too. And Jamie, I'm going to give her a thumbs up as well. And I'm going to reply back to Jamie. And you see, when I click reply, this little bar shows up on the bottom. Same type of bar that will be here on the bottom if I'm able to send something. Jamie responded one more time. So I will reply to Jamie, but in this time, I'm going to click on format. That will give me quite a bit of capability to format. I can say, you are welcome. And then I'm going to make R really bold, make it a little larger icon. And I can attach a file, put a picture, whatever I want. Put a GIF in there. Let me add that little black cat for Jamie. And from here, I can then click send. And they see it. So, okay, let's get to work. So we will get to work. But let me talk about the bottom line first. I can also just, if you noticed, that I've replied to Benny and Jamie within the same section of that conversation. So within a post, within Teams, within the channel, I can have different conversation. Benny started a different one. You see how Jamie and I are collapsed a little bit indented within Benny, and then Benny started a different one, said, okay, let's get started, and his is a little further out. I can also say, I'm going to start my own, and I don't want it to be a conversation. I want it to be an announcement, and the announcement is, this is a very powerful tool. And I can put anything that I want in here, including words and pics, and then I can come in and make the words highlighted with different colors. I can make into a paragraph. I can really make it unique and then put it up. Now, everybody within that team got alerted that there was an announcement, and they were there. Well, you know what? I also want to mention Benny, and I say, hey, Benny, look at this file, for instance. Now, he knows that there is a mention for him. I can come in here in the team that I'm in, and then I can share a file with them. So we're going to do that. So bear with me, and I'm going to grab a file to share. I'm going to open up my Explorer, and I'm going to drop a file for everybody to see. And I'm going to also write a little note and say, check out this file and help me work on it. And upload it. So now the file is there and it's available. And from here, I can open and edit a file directly within Microsoft Teams. So if I do that and I click on that file, and here's the file that it opened up. This is everybody that registered for this webinar, and how we have it laid out. Other people, like Jamie's just jumped in the file, and I can see her that she's also working in the file at the same time. I can see where Jamie's icon is going to be. I can work with her at the same time, and not only that, I can add a conversation, and Benny's here as well, and we can talk while working on the same file. And they can respond to me right there. You know what? Sometimes I find that it's just not enough to have a conversation. I can edit, I can close the file, I can then decide that I need to talk to everybody on this team. So I can come in and do a team meet. And this is everybody that's connected to the team will be ready to go. Here's Benny, and I'm gonna ask him to join, and I'm gonna ask Jamie to join this call as well. So they should pick up soon. Hi guys, welcome to the demo. Hello. And now we're in a conversation, we're working, and I'm gonna say, hey, do you remember that file we were working on? I have a couple of suggestions for you guys. So what I'm gonna do is then share that file, and then you see all the different capabilities I have to share, right? It could be, I can say, let's go back into Teams and work on it together, or I can say, let me show you another file first, or let me share the entire screen with you. Whatever it may be, I'm able to share with them. So if I do click on share, and I'm actually sharing a presentation, you'll see it sharing as the presentation we're doing, not exactly the same file, but because of Teams, because of Office 365, we can collaborate. And then I can work on it and they can see it, and I can go on and continue on, and Benny and Jamie are in part of that meeting. I can stop sharing, I can share an entire screen, and we could share different files and we can conversate. I can then go back here, I can remove a participant, make them into an attendee. I can also mute a participant or not while we're in a call. I can have the chats here. In other words, I can chat while we're chatting. In other words, if I want to send somebody a specific message, I can do it directly from here. So we're working, and we're working together, and we're working collaboratively. But now my screen is different. I want to go back to where I was. I don't have to hang up on them to do that. I just have to click on Teams, and you notice that the conversations continue on the top. I can now share the screen with them, and they can see what I'm doing. They can see that we're working. They can see where I'm at. They can see that I'm in a meeting now. See that now under General, you see the icon to show you that I was in a meeting, then the meeting is active. Thanks, guys, for the help. I'm going to call on you in a little bit. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to hang up on you guys. So that's how collaborative teams can be. But now that I've created a team and I have just one general channel, I can create additional channels. I can come in here and say add a channel, and this time I would like it to be you know, webinar attendees. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to click add. So now automatically it added this channel. I can come to this channel, and you know what? I would like it to be just available. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, and here's all the applications that can be added within Teams. And I'm going to select Excel because that file was an Excel file. And then here's the webinar attendees. Let me add the file, and then I'll be able to attach it, and it will look like this. So instead of having to open Excel, attach a file, send it to somebody and email it, all I have to do is just click on the plus sign, click on Excel, and then the files that are shared within that team will show up. And then I selected it, and when somebody else comes, they're able to just select that tab, and everything is there with that for that file, including that PowerPoint we talked about. Any files that we shared within Teams will show up here. Any posts will show up here. So within the teams that I'm in, I've created channels, and channels could be pictures important for that specific project or that specific team. It could be a project plan, new ideas, issues. This is what we do to create a channel. So think of Teams as you first create a team, you decide who's going to be in the team, then you create the channels that are going to go underneath that team. If you're not interested in some of the channels, you can hide the channels. You can come to any channel and decide that this channel is not important to me, I'm going to hide it. So that's it just goes to hidden channels. That way it doesn't make my view very cumbersome. It makes it easy to see and easy to view. Now on the top here, we talked about the different tabs that we have. One is files. So files is very important in Teams because that's how you're going to share files across the board. You're going to upload your files that is for that team, whether it being a project or a sales team or whatever it may be. You upload your files here. The files can be reached by everybody in that team. They can edit it and edit it together like I just showed you with Ben and Jamie. I can then come to that file and I can say, you know what, I would like to open that file, and I have options to open the file. I can open it with Excel Online, which will open up a browser and open up the file in it. I can open it with my local Excel that's loaded on my machine. And if I do that, I never have to click save either on Excel. It will automatically save. The beauty of Teams is that you don't have to click save to save anything. It automatically knows you're connected, and then you're connected to SharePoint, and this is where things are saved, so every change you make gets saved. I can also open it in SharePoint, and I'm going to do that to show you some of the capabilities that Office 365, Microsoft 365 has altogether. SharePoint is the back end of Teams. So I opened the file in SharePoint, and I am now into the SharePoint view of the files that I had within the Teams group that I just created. So if you notice, I created a Teams group. It automatically created a SharePoint for it, site for it. Any files I have in that team gets automatically put in here. Now I can come in and look at these files, and I can say, show me the version history of that file. So every time we went in that file and made a change, I'm able to see the different histories in it. I'm able then to go back and restore an older version of the file. I'm able to compare between what was saved and what wasn't. Because you have a lot of people in Teams, the thing is, how many people are working on that file and who made which changes? This all gets tracked automatically. It really makes it a lot simpler to be able to tell what's happening. Now this is the presentation file. Obviously we've made a lot of changes to it. 43 times we've logged into it all the way to the last minute, and every time somebody logged into it, whether it being Jamie or Ben or what have you, the changes were made and captured. Let's go back to Teams. So that's how Teams and SharePoint work together. Now, SharePoint can do a lot more. There's another training for that, but let's not worry about that. Let's go back to Teams because there's a lot more to talk about in Teams. From a file perspective, if I'm here, I can then download. I can also download the file. If I download the file, I can then use it when I don't have internet connectivity, or I can email it out to somebody else within Teams for outside the organization. I can copy the link, I can email that link to somebody, and anybody that has that link will be able to open up that file and use it remotely. or I can just continue and edit it in Teams, and then multiple people can work on it at the same time. But because anything that we do in files remain here in files, I want to show you guys the file section of Teams. File section of Teams is pretty strong. You could work on documents together without leaving Teams. You could show other users using the files. So I can show you, we could show you that other people are in the same time. I can see where their cursor is, versus where my cursor is. These are all recent files that were used in Teams, and these are the people that used it and where they used it and what have you. These are all Microsoft Teams files altogether. So these are files not only that were recent, but any file within Teams will show up here. I can do quite a bit of searches to find the specific file. I can also add cloud storage. So if you use Dropbox or Box or Ignite or Share Files or Google Drive, you could actually link Google Drive to Teams. And all of those files will show up within Teams, or Dropbox if you use that. Obviously, after you start using Teams, you won't need any of these applications, but you can link to them if you like them and they're already there. Your OneDrive will also be here if you want to go to it and look at any specific files. But if I'm at a file and I go on the 3 dots at the end, I can edit them in Teams, open them in a browser, open them in the desktop app, get the link, or download them. And this is where all the files are. Very strong, and any downloads that I have will show up here, so I don't have to go hunt for them and look for them. Very strong capabilities to be able to have files and file access. But all the files happen within Teams, right? It happens within the channels within Teams. All your files that you shared within that specific channels will show up here. For instance, if I go to another team like partner support team, you'll see that they have a lot more channels, a lot more capabilities, down to legit questions or PTO and OT announcements. And you see how channels can be used, and any file associated with that channel will show up in the Files tab. Let's say we have some changes. We've added people to our team. What do we do now? Well, we can manage our team. If I go to Manage Team, this is what's going to show up. Somebody that wants to join the team can send us a request, and we could approve or not approve that request. Any channels that we have set up will show up here, and I can decide what's hidden and what's not hidden for me. I can show members or not show members. I have complete control because I'm an owner of that team. And I can look at settings. I can have a team pictures if I want. I can add members permission. And in other words, are members allowed to create and update channels? I can say no, they're not. I can say that I can allow members to create private channels or not. This is where you're going to go in and truly customize your team to make it your own, to make it fun, to make it a place where people want to go and collaborate. Because once you're in Teams and once you're in a general chat and chats are happening and you start talking to people and saying, I have a question, and then you mention, and if I put the 2 users in the team that I've selected are the only 2 that are going to show up. And I can say to Jamie, I have a question, and I can send that. Now, Jamie knows that she got mentioned, and she knows that I have a question for her, and she could reply and say, what's your question? And I can now have a conversation with Jamie about whatever question I have for her. Now, let's say I want to talk to, now this is within a team, but now say I want to talk to Jamie one-on-one. I no longer want a full team, if you will. If I go over her, just hover over her name, this box come up, and I can have a chat directly with Jamie there, or a video conference with Jamie, or I can call her an audio conference. Jamie replied, and I can say, this is just a test. And she got that. But let's say I do want to talk to her, and if I hover over her name and this comes up, I can go to chat, which will take me up there to chat. Now I am on with Jamie, and this is our chat. I got another chat, but I can go back, and this is our chat, and I can ask her questions here, or I can just simply click on this button and have Jamie jump on the call right away without having to do much more. So Jamie answers, I say hello, we start talking, say hello Jamie, and I say, hey Jamie.
Hi buddy.
Hi buddy. And then we're having a conversation, and all of a sudden I say, you know what? You know who we should bring into this call? Somebody else. I can come in. I can invite anybody else within the company. Everybody will show up that's there. So I'm going to invite Benny since we've been picking on him. And now it's calling Benny. So Benny's going to be added to this call as separate than the meeting we have through the teams. This is individuals, and this is everybody within the company. So Benny will jump up, and now we could have a chat. We can then share files again. We can collaborate again, and we could continue to work on it. I can then come back and look at Benny. I can mute him. I can pin him. I can remove him. I can make him into an attendee, and he can make some changes. In this case, I will remove this participant because we're done with Benny, and then we'll come back and I can talk to Jamie. I can then share files with Jamie, and we can work together on the same file at the same time. It's very collaborative, and when you get to see people's faces when you have meetings, and I can invite 4 or 5, I can invite up to 600 people, really. Teams breaks up into 4 different quadrants, and I'm able to see Benny's leaving the meeting. I'm able to see who's talking. So whoever talks shows up on the screen, and it knows who's talking, so it makes that happen. Thank you, Jamie, for your help. While we're on a call, we have different capabilities and different things that we could do. I'm going to call Jamie again to bother her, but while we're on a call, hi, Jamie, one more time. While we're on a call, I can show different backgrounds behind me, so that way Jamie won't know where I am. So Jamie, can you change your background?
Yep.
Okay, so now Jamie's at the beach.
I wish.
Yeah, and that's how easy it is. So now if you're having a meeting and you're working from home and then everything is all around you and you have kids running around, the idea to be able to isolate what's happening behind you and be able to focus on the meeting and not let everybody focus on what's behind you, and then have you focus on you and only your face and the background. The background can be a picture, it could be a presentation, it could be anything that you want it to be. It's very flexible on what you could do. It's really a pic that you could upload to it and make it your own. Thanks, Jamie. See ya. Okay, now we're back in Teams and chats. If I want to talk to somebody or chat with somebody, if I go to Teams and put in a / these are different things, because let's say I'm in Teams and I'm working on a document. So I'm going to open up a document that's I have here, and let's open up this demo document I'm working on. I'm like, you know what? I really need to talk to somebody about this. Let me go to Jamie, but I don't want to get away from this document. I still want to be in the document. So I can / chat or call. In this case, I'm going to chat. And then I'm going to select Jamie, and I can type a message. Now, I didn't have to get out. I didn't have to go to chat. I didn't have to get away from where I was at. I was in Teams working on a document, and then I chatted with somebody because a thought came to my head, and Jamie responded with received. So you see chat is now 2, and here's Jamie received, and this is my other chat that I was working on. So I'm back into it. And that's how you can use the command bar up there. The command bar can be used for searches, for words, for documents, for mentions. So if I want to say at Ben, I can type him a message right away from here and send it to him. I can go /call, and if I put Ben's name, a call will automatically start. So this is very strong up there. So even if I want to do a search for webinar, you see how I'm as I'm writing, it automatically takes me a webinar. Here's the channel. The only place we have webinar written. And so if I click on it, it's going to take me directly there. And this is the webinar attendees that I created right there in that channel. So that's why it took me. This is a very strong tool to be able to find things. Okay, now let's jump into calendar. And this is my calendar for today. It's pretty packed, but calendar and your Outlook calendar sync. Part of OLE, part of Microsoft's capabilities. So I can then come in and create another meeting. I can call it whatever I want to, so test meeting. And then I can come in and invite specific people to that meeting. Here's Ben and Jamie. I can give it a specific time. I can make it repeat, and then I can add a channel to that meeting. So I'm going to add the MS demo channel. I'm going to put it under general, and I'm going to send. Now it's under general. You see that it's creating it right there. This is where it was in, and the meeting will be created soon enough. And any meeting that's created that's going to be a Teams meeting will have an icon like this where I can click on it and automatically log into that meeting. Or I can go to Teams and go to that team. You'll see that general is now bold because somebody else put something else. Here's the meeting, and here's so Microsoft, Ben added that Microsoft 365 is positioning team to be a force in collaboration. The NFL draft tonight is using it. So think about that. And we're in a call, so that you see next to the channel that we're in that there's a call right there, and it could tell you that it's active because there's an icon. You see how you could work together, bring people and collaborate in one area, working on the same files at the same time, different ideas. Once you start really diving into this, it becomes very, very strong. A couple other things I'm going to show you guys. Activities. Activities are very strong. This is anything in the feed, is everything and every activity that happens. So I've been talking to Jamie, and Jamie replied, and Ben did this. This is all together, which is daunting. It's a lot of information. But if I go to my activities, I'm able to see my specific things that I've done, right? If I go back to feed and I click on filter and I click on these three buttons, I would like you to show me everything that I did not read yet, or I read everything, or I'd like you to show me everything that I'm mentioned in. So here's the 2 mentions that I had, right? And Jamie had mentioned me at noon, and Danielle had mentioned me another time. I would like to look at Ben, for instance, and see everywhere Ben was mentioned, if he was mentioned somewhere. Or I would like to see any replies or any reaction or any missed calls or voicemail or any apps or what's trending in Teams right now, if anything is trending. You see what I'm saying? It's very strong to be in activities here. And it gives you a lot of information. I never used to use it quite a bit, but now I use it to filter and see information about other team members that report back to me and what have you, and to be able to really work together more collaboratively. It's not an easy word for me to say, I guess. Calls is the calls that you make. Teams have different levels. So Teams, you can make calls, receive calls. I can create speed dials. Teams can be your own phone system. You can actually buy numbers from Microsoft. You can port numbers to Microsoft. It's a very rudimentary phone system, so that's not the phone system we recommend, but it has the capability. We do recommend having at least one phone number, so that when you do conference bridging and conference calling within Teams, you won't need WebEx or anything like that anymore. You'll be able to use Teams for all of that, and you'll be able to, if you have that external number, you'll be able to send that information to external people outside your organization to be able to work together. And then there's quite a bit of apps. So if I click on more apps that are available for Team, these link Team to these apps, including Zoom. I said you could use Zoom within Teams. You could use any of these apps. And there's quite a bit of apps. And I can do searches here. Give me something for polls. So Polly came up. I like this app. I would like to open this app, create it. Now I can create a poll. I can add a new poll. How much do you love Microsoft Teams? I'm gonna say I'm gonna strongly agree. And the poll can be sent to anybody, and other people can jump in, and then you can reply to that poll. A poll can be made, as you could see it, it's just Polly. So now if I go to Teams And if I go to, I can create a new channel, and I can call it polls. I can click add. Now a channel is automatically created under this team. If I go to, I created it, I called it pools though, not polls. Let me rename the channel so there's a good way for you to see that. Once the channel is created, if I go to it, it's a blank channel. So this is what a blank channel looks like. It has a conversation on the bottom. You can start talking. You have the capabilities on the bottom here and down to Zoom. See how I can link to Zoom, or I can link to Poly. So if I click on Poly, Poly opens up. It wants me to sign in first, so I'll sign in real quick. Okay, I'm in. And now I can create a poll. I can add a question here. So it's a multiple choice question. The question is, are you going to set up Teams correctly? Whatever the question it is, and then the answer could be yes, it could be no. I can add another choice of maybe. I can allow multiple votes or not. I can have audience can add choices on their own, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow multiple votes, and I can preview it. And then this is what it looks like. I like it. I'm going to send it. Now there's a poll that got created and got created in this channel. And if I want people to now, because people are part of this channel, Jamie and Benny will get an alert that they did not read something in here, and it will be bold like this. So anything that's bold has something that was not read before. So general was something I did not read before, and it tells me that this is happening, and I can create a poll because I added Poly to it. And polls in Poly, I can come in and see it. If I say yes, it is, I am, and I can submit the vote results will end up showing up on the bottom. As more people vote, you'll be able to see it there. There's a lot of apps and a lot of app capabilities in Teams, and I'm barely going through it. I use OneNote religiously, so I go to OneNote. OneNote will open up within Teams, and I can use it within Teams, and all I have to do is basically do that. Information here that I'm going to get out of OneNote real quick. Now, one last thing I'll leave you with when it comes to team is settings. If I go to settings, I'm able to see I can have a dark theme if you like that better, or a high contrast theme. I can have different privacy. I can be on do not disturb. I can block certain people. There's read receipts in Teams. I can tell it I don't want read receipts to be sent out. Notifications. Every aspect of notification. Is it going to be on the banner? Is it going to be a call or a mention? I want to know if there's some. Do I want to be notified or not? I can manage those notifications from here. Teams can also work with audio devices. So people use Teams that can actually buy a phone that only works with Teams. That phone will connect to the back of your computer and will be connected as a Teams phone. So you can have conference calling in your conference room through Teams, and it will look and feel like a traditional phone system. And then permission to use the camera or location or notifications or what have you. And then calls. Do I have a voicemail? I can leave a message. I can configure my voicemail. Again, Teams can be a full-on system. So this is where settings are. And I changed it to this a view I definitely don't like. So I'm going to take it back to my default view. And it brings us back to what everybody's used to. So that's Teams. Let's go now back to the presentation. Teams is very powerful. I mean, you could see do quite a bit of things, and I'm just barely going through what it is, but there's a couple other things you guys should be aware of. And what you should be aware of is, and that's the demo, that there's a lot of different options for Teams. Number one, which Teams is right for you? Teams comes for free. Free, no commitment, Teams itself, but it doesn't have a lot of the features that you're going to need. but Teams is included in Office 365 across the board. The one we see most value in is Office 365 Business Premium. Business Premium not only includes Teams, but it includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and it has all those applications that can be downloaded to your desktop. Business Essential is an online only tool, so you don't get any of the applications locally. Both of them comes with Exchange, so they Business Premium comes with Exchange, so you get an email address and you get your domain there and you get Outlook and you get to use it. Business Premium and E3 are basically the same package, except if you have more than 300 employees, you'll need E3. Business Premium is less than 300. The enterprise level is more than 300 employees. So which Teams is right for you? That depends. Depends on how you're going to use it, how you're going to use Office 365, how you're going to use collaboration. We'll need to talk to you in more detail and go through that. But besides Teams, you got to be aware that Teams is a SaaS application, software as a service application. Microsoft does not back it up. Everything that you have in Teams, especially if you're going to put a lot more files in it, it's not backed up. So this is from their SLA. You know, when you click I accept real quick, well, we actually read it. It says Microsoft is not liable for any disruption or loss you may suffer as a result. So we recommend you regularly back up your content and data that you store on the services or storing using a third-party app or services. We use Datto Backup for SaaS. It's important to be able to back up not only Teams, but all your Word and Excel files, your SharePoint, your OneDrive, all that needs to be backed up and encrypted and secured, especially if you're going to use it because it is encrypted already. Microsoft has its own encryption and its own security tools, but they do not back up your data. I repeat it, Microsoft does not back up your data. Microsoft says has no liability for the deletion of customer data or personal data as described in this section. And basically they're saying that if you leave them, they're going to remove your stuff after 90 days. You can't go back to any more data. If they have a down emergency and they lose your data, they lost it, sorry about it. And that at the end of the day, you're responsible for your backup. So if you're using Microsoft 365, whether you're using Team heavily or not, make sure that you have solid backup for it. What we want to present for everybody is and we want to offer everybody that joined us is a 30-minute consultation on Teams and Microsoft 365 altogether. You let us know if you're interested. You go to our website, mvpworks.com, fill out the form, or mvpworks.com/COVID-19. Fill out that form or call us directly or email me, get a hold of us and let us know that you're interested in that 30-minute talk about Microsoft 365, how you're using it, if you're using it at all now, what aren't you using, and let us help you get there and let us help you configure Teams and your environment to work well together. And so that way you're collaborating, not just social distancing. Basically, that's it, everybody. From a demo perspective, let's see if we have some questions and see who's available. Okay. Bear with me while I see. There's a bunch of questions here, so I'm gonna open it up and bring it out. Larry, by the way, I'm sorry you had an issue with your desktop sound. We are recording this and it will be published, so feel free to go through it again and watch the recording and call me with any questions. Our Teams internal only, or can you add people from the outside the organization? Teams is not internal only. You could definitely add people outside the organizations. They become guests, so they have very limited capabilities, but they can log into files. You can give them and they can make changes with you, not in Teams, but you give them that link like I showed you guys and they're able to do that. But definitely work for people outside the organization. And then your next question was, you've answered my question, but I just want to make sure that I answered it one more time. In order to add people outside your organization, do you have to have that allowed on the admin side? No, you don't. All you have to know is their email address. and that's how it works. How did you get to add a Teams screen? Okay, I've created a Teams, basically, let me go back to Teams real quick. And I added team screens by going to create or join a team. And if I want to add an additional channel within the team, I click on the three dots and say add channel. And this question's for you, Jim. I hope I answered your question for you. I can unmute you if you guys want to have any questions. Let me know and I'll unmute the attendees. So people are unmuted now. So if you have any questions, let me know. Next, is there a way to hide when staff are added, removed from a team? This is from John Garrity. John, I'm trying to understand your question, so bear with me. So John, you could unmute yourself now. I allowed that to happen. I'm looking for you if I can unmute you because I can't hear. And if you're still on, bear with me where I see John. Where are you? A lot of J's. Here we go. John, I just unmuted you. Can you hear me? Hello? John Garrity? Is there a way to hide when staff are added or removed from teams? No, once a team member is added, you could tell if the team member is part of that team or not. Aside from spamming that chat, the chat whenever we terminate someone is problematic. Understood. If you want to terminate a chat, you can. If you want to remove a person from that team, you can, so that they don't add a lot of stuff to it. But we can't have somebody part of a team but nobody knows about it. People will be able to tell about it. I hope that answered your questions. Gary Williams, can you limit editing to a certain team members? Yes, you can. You could limit editing for certain people. You could actually allow people to even be able to post or not at all. All files within Teams are saved in SharePoint as well. Correct. All files within Teams are saved in SharePoint, but all files within chat are saved in OneDrive. So Microsoft uses both, just to let you know. Are Microsoft Teams communications encrypted and safe? Yes, they are. Now, there is additional encryption you can buy from Microsoft, but yes, they are, and they're HIPAA compliant. And you could send PHI through it and PII in Teams without any issues. How can you invite individuals from outside your organizations to meet? Through their email address. So if I want to create a meeting, I double click on it, and attendees, I can this is my other email address, and boom, it found me as a guest. And that's how I add a guest, even though that I'm outside the organization. Next, love the mask on the mascot. Our pleasure. That wasn't my work, but people much more talented than that. Can you delete or empty activities? Can you delete items out of your chats? So yes. I'm going to disregard that because I'm not setting this up. I'm going to come here. If I come into any items and I go to the three dots, I can then mark as unread. I can share it to Outlook. Because then I can, if I want to send that information to somebody via email, mark as unread, save it. If I click on save a message, it will show up under here with saved. Anything saved will be here. And then I can also, if I'm the owner of that team, so let me go to a team, I can come in and I can delete. And if I click delete, it's gone, and that part of the chat is deleted. You show Teams being able to open documents within itself. Does it hold true to cross-platform versions of Teams? Yes, it does. Such as Mac and Linux. Yes, it does. You could open it on a Mac or Linux if you have Teams there. Teams is a SaaS application. It doesn't matter where you're running it. It could be a browser. It could be on your iPhone. The mobile app for Teams is very strong. how do you look at the different versions of files is by using SharePoint. So I went to, so let me show you that again real quick. I'm going to go to Teams. I'm going to go to my team where I have a few files. And here's the files. And then I'm going to come to that file, click on the three dots and say open in SharePoint. That's going to take me to SharePoint. It has to be configured, obviously. And then from here, I can come in and say, show me the version history of that file. And the version history will show up right here. Is there any way to delete prior conversations? Yes, I just saw that. John, sorry, no, Mike. Sorry, John. I just noticed that. So when you add remove a user in Active Directory, they are removed from all your teams as it appears in chat. There is LDAP communication with Microsoft 365. If your Active Directory is in Azure, yes. If it's not, you have to have something called AD sync between your Active Directory and Microsoft 365 for that to happen. Can it happen? Yes. Does it happen out of the box? No. We have to do AD sync connectivity between your Active Directory, which is local to you, and the Microsoft Active Directory, with where Teams and Outlook and your Exchange would live. Any channels only created under Teams? That's from Gary. Any channels only created under Teams? Sorry, Gary, I don't understand what your question, but yes, any channels created under Teams can be used, removed, added to it, hidden. Get an email address for a channel so that you can email everybody in that channel at the same time through Outlook without having to go into the channel. Get a link to the channel and share that link with anybody outside your organization. Get a connector to the channel, which will connect you to different apps and what have you. And here's all the different apps that you may be using. Yes, you could do quite a bit with channels. I hope that answered your questions. Can you video chat with someone outside the agency by using an email also? Yes, you can. And you could use it as conferencing. So yes, other people outside your organization can log in, and other people can use video chat with you. We do conference calling through this way. We call our clients this way now. And if you have a microphone and a camera, you're good to go. And Elise, you're welcome. These are all the questions that we had, quite a bit of questions. I truly appreciate that, everybody. I hope you found it beneficial. You know, we've been using Teams more and more, and the more we spend times in Teams, the more that we use it. I mean, I can show you behind the screen a little bit of some of the information that gets shared, but everybody uses Teams very diligently here at MVP. Everybody talks about it very carefully and uses it all the time. It became our collaboration tool. I use Teams now more than I use Outlook. It used to be my number one. Outlook was my number one application. Now it's Teams, and everything is within it. So when I share and work on documents, even though we're working together, we can have it open and everybody can be together at the same time. Everybody can make changes at the same time together. You know, it's all depends on how it's configured, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you configure it. We're here to help you make sure that you use it, and we're offering a 30-minute consultation with anybody that's interested in us helping you move forward with Teams. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any other questions, please let me know. Got one more question. Sorry that I missed this, but does the team calendar sync with your Exchange calendar? Absolutely. Anything you add in Outlook shows in Teams calendar and vice versa. It's basically the same calendar. The beauty of the Teams calendar, though, that if there's a Teams meeting, you just can click on the calendar and log into that Teams meeting right away. Teams meeting is how we've been doing every meeting for the last 2 months. It's really helped our company get closer together. We also do State of the Unions, and every Friday, State of the Union starting now. You see what's happening here. You see how we're working together. You see how people are State of the Union, because we don't know when we're going to come back to work regularly. But is it regular? This is the new norm. So we got to get used to not only get used to this, but use the right tools that are available to be able to not social distance, but work collaboratively. I appreciate your time, everybody. I hope this was beneficial. This is how we use it, and there's a lot more than we do to it. I just don't have another 2 hours to show you some more stuff. But if you're interested, let us know, and we'll get a hold of you and we'll spend the time. I want to thank you for your time, and everything that we talked about will be recorded and will be published. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.